Welcome to the big picture on 10 TV Plus.
It's Monday, Collin.
It is Monday.
It's the start of a new week.
Yeah.
Did you have a good weekend?
I did. It wasn't bad. I went to Indianapolis and back. Had a wedding over there Saturday.
Weddings are always fun, though.
Yeah.
Love in the air.
Yeah.
What's better than that?
Right. It was a lovely day for it because it was an outdoor wedding, which is in the spring. I would never take that risk.
Too much anxiety.
Yeah. There's too many things that can go wrong. The weather is so unpredictable. But for them, it worked.
And you said it was Kentucky Derby themed?
It was Kentucky Derby themed.
That's so fun.
Yeah, so everybody was in florals. Florals for spring, groundbreaking.
Absolutely. Devil Wears Prada. Are you seeing the second one?
I
need to as well. I didn't do much this weekend except for I walked around the short north. It was just so beautiful. I had a short sleeve shirt on, no coat finally.
Super nice.
Just felt so good. But, start of a new week. It's Monday, and there's a lot of news that was happening this morning.
Right, absolutely. For example, we know Pammy May, she's the woman accused of killing her 5-year-old son a couple years ago. She is currently in court for a psychiatric evaluation. We may be able to take that live in a bit. But also this morning, there was a crash that shut down I-270, the southbound lanes from just south of the 70 interchange all the way down to Georgesville Road. And we are continuing to learn a bit more about that. And joining us to talk about that is ODOT's press secretary.
Matt Bruning, hello. Thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Well, good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to join you.
So we want to just talk about this. You clarified, and Sergeant Albert did with Columbus Police, that this was not a case of a wrong-way driver.
Yeah, and we have seen wrong-way crashes, obviously, in Central Ohio. They make the news almost every time we see some kind of a wrong-way crash, but they're extremely rare. They make up about 0.01% of all crashes that we see in the state of Ohio each year. So extremely rare, but something we take very, very seriously because they're 40 times more likely to be deadly than other crash types. So something that we have invested a lot in to try to, reduce the risk of occurring.
And I know the information's limited right now with what you can share because this is an ongoing investigation, but what can you tell us so far about what led up to this crash?
Well, all I can tell you from ODOT's perspective is we talk about when the road is closed and the road is open. So at this point, the road is open. It will be up to Columbus Police to do the investigation. That's their job. I won't get in their lane. They're the ones that will be looking at all the factors about what happened. So, certainly we'll be interested to see what they determine as to what occurred. ODOT reviews every fatal crash that is on our system in the state of Ohio. And so we're always looking for ways we can learn to try to mitigate those fatal crashes from occurring in the future.
And, now that we know that this one was not a wrong way crash, and talking about mitigating crashes in the future, that is something that ODOT has even more recently invested a lot of money. And we're talking about these cameras at these on-ramps. Go in a little bit of detail about, what are these? What is the goal of those?
Yeah, so these wrong-way detectors, basically what they do is they are trained on a ramp. And it's an exit ramp from the highway, but that's where a lot of these wrong-way drivers get onto the highway going the wrong direction. We've got 91 locations around the state of Ohio, including 31 here in Central Ohio, where we are installing these traffic cameras. Now, these are traffic cameras that you can see on ogo.com. So if you go to ohgo.com, you can see them right here. You're watching video of how they work. So they've got 3 zones on the ramp. You are expecting zones 1, 2, 3 to light up. Well, if 3, 2, 1 light up, then the camera sends an alert to our traffic management center. It lights up the signs as you're also seeing there on the screen, and that alerts the driver. Now, that was done 354 times in 2024, which is the latest data set that I have right now. In 2024, about 83% of drivers saw that flashing sign and turned around themselves and never made it to the main line of the highway, which is exactly what we're looking for. And so if they do continue onto the roadway, our traffic management center gets that alert. They see that the driver has continued on to the highway, and they're able to get on a common radio channel and alert law enforcement and hopefully get a law enforcement officer out there to intercept that vehicle before they are involved in a crash.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add about what occurred this morning in this deadly crash?
No, just obviously tragic situation. Anytime there's a fatality on our roadways, we take that very seriously. And so we will be interested in seeing what Columbus Police determined happened as part of their investigation. And again, see if there's anything that ODOT could do to try to reduce the risk of these kinds of crashes from occurring across our state.
All right, Matt Bruning, Press Secretary for the Ohio Department of Transportation. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Take care, Matt. All right. Before we move on to the next topic, is Pammy May currently in court?
She is not in court. This is a live look at the courtroom right now. You can see, I think that's the bailiff walking in there. So they're trying to get situated this morning. But we want to bring you up to speed about why she is back in court this morning.
Right. So she is basically back for a psychiatric evaluation if she is deemed fit to stand trial. In the past, she's not, but then they put her into a program to work with her to get her competent to stand trial. So that is what we expect today. Amy Steigerwald is in that courtroom reporting for us today. So once we get more coming out of the courtroom, we'll dive into that in a bit.
Yeah,
but,
and Pammy May was accused of killing her 5-year-old son.
That was Darnell Taylor in 2024 Valentine's Day.
Horrible story. So we will, obviously we have a live shot going on in that courtroom, so we'll keep monitoring that to see what's going on.
Yeah. So the other story we want to talk about is this triple homicide crash from over the weekend. Another very sad day.
Crash.
This one was on I-71. Just outside of the Sunbury exit, that's Route 3637 there, right by the Tanger outlets and the Harley-Davidson dealer. You can look at that, the traffic. This is on the southbound lanes. Well, I guess it really shut down both sides of the interstate for several hours. So in this crash, it was a triple fatal. It was it was two adults and a baby, a 1-year-old that were killed in this. So
I mean, it shut it down all afternoon and until the evening as well. And I mean, people were stuck on the highway for hours. And we spoke to some of the witnesses. I want you to take a listen to this.
At that moment, I wasn't worried about myself or my car or anything. The people in the cars and watching the one car go up in flame and not seeing anyone get out of it was heartbreaking.
Saw no indication of him trying to stop or slowing down. A couple extra minutes out of your day is not going to ruin your day.
So here's what we know about this case is that there has been a man arrested, 50-year-old Modu Ngam of Columbus.
Here's a picture of his mugshot. There he is right there.
And he's currently being held in the Delaware County Jail. But according to the Ohio State Highway Patrol investigation, the preliminary investigation, he was driving north on I-71 and didn't stop when he was approaching some stopped construction traffic. If you've driven any time there around that Sunbury exit, you know a lot of it's squeezed down right now as they continue to work on the rest area there, continue to work on that new Energy project.
Congested.
Yeah, and it's and that's what happened is that traffic ahead of him was stopped. And initially this call came in. So basically he slammed into the back end of several cars. The initial call was that there were 12 vehicles involved. In the end, there were 9 all involved. But once again, it was a 36-year-old woman, a 37-year-old man, and a 1-year-old that were all killed in a pickup truck that was involved in this crash. So
I got the alert from 10 TV on my phone, and I immediately called my parents because I knew they were out and about in that area, and I was worried. Yeah. It was them. I mean, because there were so many cars involved. It's just a sad situation, but it kind of brings us back to what happened at Tusky Valley.
Yeah, the Tusky Valley bus crash that was 2023, which that was at just outside the Etna exit in Licking County there on I-70. And because there are some similarities to this one, this was another case of a semi-truck coming in basically at a full clip into stopped and or slow-moving construction traffic. And that happened as the Tuscarawas Valley Local School District Band was headed to an event in Columbus that morning. Jacob McDonald was the truck driver in this case, and the traffic ahead of him was stopped for construction traffic. And the NTSB report out of that said at the time he was going about 72 miles an hour. The traffic that was in front of him was either stopped or moving at about 15 miles per hour. So it was a significant crash. And in that one, we saw 3 students die, along with 2 of their parents and a teacher from Tusky Valley.
I'm surprised more people didn't pass away in the result of this accident that happened on Saturday. I mean, 3, that was a horrible number. And definitely thinking about the people that are impacted by this. And we'll keep, we'll keep following up with this story and kind of, dive into what maybe
in the Tusky Valley one, we knew that there was a distraction at play there. That is what continued to come out in the investigation time and time again, was that there was some sort of distraction. We don't exactly know what it was. We don't know if it was the cell phone or something else in the truck, but that was a huge factor.
And we may never know.
And we may never know. But currently, we don't know what was at play in this one in Delaware County over the weekend. However, there were some suggested changes that came out of the Tusky Valley bus crash. The NTSB made some suggestions suggesting, for example, stronger federal guidance on managing traffic queues after incidents and communications between responding agencies. Because if you remember that day, I was there, and it was a bit chaotic for a long time that day. But when it comes to vehicles on the road, performance standards for collision avoidance in these large commercial vehicles, because there wasn't some of the electronic monitoring devices in that one, because it was a private truck instead of more of a fleet vehicle. So there was a lot of play in that one.
Their job is very serious when you're moving that many tons on the roadways.
You can't stop
and
that
there's
fast.
other drivers on the road. So just moving to another big story, switching gears now. Thurman's, the iconic
Thurman
burger
Cafe,
restaurant here in Columbus. There was a fire that happened on Sunday, an electrical fire, according to the Columbus Division of Fire. And it's shut down the restaurant basically for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that fire
this is
call.
some video of it,
Yeah, that fire call came in around 2 Sunday afternoon, and
workers were smelling the smoke. They didn't know where it was coming from, though. And then they went to the back, and boom, they saw the fire. And this is what a neighbor had to say about what she saw play out.
Everyone was saying what's happening around Thurman's and Jaeger, because there were fire trucks everywhere. And I just walked out on my porch and I could smell it right away. And it smelled like burning plastic.
Now, thankfully, no one was hurt, but it is significant damage to the restaurant. I mean, obviously, the building itself is probably okay, but think about all the things that were hanging on the ceiling, the walls. If you've ever been in there, there was not a square inch of wall.
I mean, this is a really
covered.
good shot of the damage. Oh, I'm going to go back to that. Go back a little bit.
So,
and it smelled like burning.
A lot of damage there.
A lot of damage, and it's a tragedy there, because they've been there since 1942.
I know. They're I call them the most famous restaurant in Columbus. I feel like everyone knows about Thurman's. They know about the burger.
Yeah, everybody's got to go have a burger at Thurman. So, it's a matter of when they can reopen. It's going to take some time. It's going to be, a lot of people are speculating that it'll be a full regut of that whole building.
Yeah.
So.
But I feel like sometimes there's, a blessing in the middle of the chaos. So maybe they needed some upgrades or something. I don't know.
But,
we'll see.
who knows? It'll be, something. All right. Coming up next, Tyvis Powell joining us.
Yes, we're talking about the
Fan.
Masters. Oh, it was such a good tournament this year. Yeah. We're talking about the CBJ because their chances are narrowed. They're about this big. I would give them this big. So anyway, we'll be right back after this quick break. If I can take the break. All right, welcome back to the big picture.
Hey, Tyvis.
What's going on, everybody?
Oh, we're
Happy
off Masters
Monday.
weekend.
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy, 2 in a row.
I loved it. This was great. This was such a close. I thought he was gonna
Slip up and fall.
Yeah, drop the bag.
But that's him though. That's typical Rory.
I know, keeping you on your toes.
Especially when it comes to the Masters, he's always had these performances where he does so well and then he just kind of trips over his feet at the end, and he gave you that feeling, but he's clearly was able to overcome it. This 2 years in a row. I want to see if he's gonna hit a grand slam.
I know. Let's play this really great video.
His year again. Rory is a rare repeat winner at Augusta.
That's got to be the best feeling in the world. $5 million payday.
That's really what he's celebrating.
Right?
Can't wait till the check clear.
That's so funny. I know. And he was so cute about his parents. They came and they watched him win for the first time when he won last year.
Yeah.
They weren't there. And he was kind of a little worried because he didn't know if he won last year because they weren't there.
I mean,
like
that's typical.
superstitious.
Yeah, that's typical athletes. It's like, what happened? What did I do the last time when we won? I need to do the exact same thing again to win again. And obviously his parents being there was a part of it. But he was able to overcome. Maybe that's what made him decline a little bit as he started thinking about that.
He got in his head a little bit. Yeah. But this is what he said.
They missed it last year, and the first thing I wanted to do was fly home to see them because I obviously wouldn't be sitting up here if it wasn't for them. So, and I had to sort of convince them to come this year because they thought that the reason that I won last year was because they weren't here. So I said on the putting green, I'm glad that we proved that wrong, so they can keep coming as long as they want. But it's amazing to have them here, and I'm excited to celebrate with them tonight.
Good stuff. First person to do it in like 20 years.
Since Tiger.
Yeah.
I wonder, when you do it twice, what jacket do you wear?
Yeah.
Oh, but I think he has 2 jackets now.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's cool.
What is he? Is it one more significant than the other?
Right. Do you wear the most recent one? Do you alternate them out?
I would wear the most recent one if I was a Masters winner.
But it's nothing like the first time.
I know. I wonder how many pimento cheese sandwiches he ate.
That just feels the pimento cheese sandwiches.
You and these sandwiches.
They're so good. Listen, I went to school in Alabama, and I had never had pimento cheese in my life, but I guess it's a really Southern thing.
I like pimento cheese, but it's more of to me a Ritz cracker thing. On a sandwich is just too much squish.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of mush.
On a hot day on a golf course. Maybe it hits a spot.
Maybe. I guess it goes hand in hand with golf.
All right. Well, let's switch gears. Let's go to the ice now.
Well, back here in Columbus, it's
Blue Jackets.
a little rough. The chances of playoffs are getting a little farther away after that game.
That game. Tyvis was crying on air this morning when we were doing our talking with Tyvis.
It's because it's like I've rode the roller coaster this season with them. It started off bad with Dean Evison as the coach. It was bad, and I was just like, what is going on? It's supposed to be y'all got Don Waddell. Y'all supposed to make these changes. And then they make the coaching change, and I watched this team just look completely different than what it was when Dean was there. And just listening to the players talk and how confident that they were. And then they go on these last 2 or 3 week skid where everything is just downhill and they just can't find a way to win the game. And then they finally win one. And then it's like, okay, if y'all win out, y'all probably go to the playoffs. And they win in Montreal. I'm like, okay, here we go with the streak. We got the losing out. Here's the streak again. And then they go up against Boston, and I tune in. It's 1-0, and I'm thinking, all right, here we go.
Yeah, this is it.
Here we come, playoffs. And just watching that game unfold in the way that it unfolded, when Boston went up 3-2 in the third, I was just like, wow, y'all really gonna trip over your feet. So it's not that it's over. They need Philadelphia to lose in regulation twice. Tonight,
which is going to be hard.
Tonight and tomorrow. They can't even go to overtime. They go to overtime, it's over with.
Yeah.
And then they need that to happen. And then they also have to play the Capitals tomorrow, which is Alex Ovechkin could potentially be his last game. They would have to beat them as well. So it's just a lot that has to happen in their favor, and it just seems like it's unlikely. It's not impossible, but it just seems like it's unlikely, and it's unfortunate because this is 2 years in a row that the Jackets will be one game or one win out from the playoffs, and you hope that they move past that, and it's just the same thing. So it's unfortunate. It really is.
They should have had you launch the cannonball. We would
a lot of people keep
have a different conversation.
They should have won that game. Like, they had it won, and then they kind of just slipped away. We got to be better on the power plays. We got to be better special teams wise. Yeah.
How do you think they're going to like train this summer and stuff to get back to?
It's going to be interesting because nobody knows if Rick Bowness is going to be the coach again. Obviously, he signed a deal and he's supposed to be the coach, but you don't know how he's going to feel after this season's over with. Are they going to make significant changes to the roster? Because, you know, the Jackets are just a young team, and you're waiting on these young guys to become vets, and it's just taking a little bit longer. So do you expedite that by getting more guys in there? Like, it's going to be just interesting. I think Don Waddell does a great job of pushing the right buttons and making the right trades when necessary. So I'm interested to see what the offseason entails with them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about the Aviators.
Yeah.
There was a arrest that happened in Dallas, the head coach. You were telling us, though, they were in Dallas because that's where they trained.
Yeah, so a lot of people think you hear like Orlando or Columbus, like you think that the teams are practicing there. No. All 10 teams practice in Dallas. They held their training camps in Dallas, they practice in Dallas, and then on game days or the weekends of the game, they fly out to those cities to play in. So a lot of people was like, well, how does Ted have his car in Dallas? Like, if you're on a away trip to Dallas, usually you get on a plane, you get on a charter bus, and that's it. You got to Uber everywhere. Well, for them and all the other teams, they're in Dallas. They were playing Dallas. So they're like, okay, we ain't got to go anywhere. So that's how Ted ended up having his car to be able to drive like that. Now, it's a selfish decision that he made. You know, he's got to get better at that. You know, obviously they went on to lose that game. Ty Haley became the head coach for that game, and they ended up losing that game. But Ted got to, like, you're in a spot now where, like, you're the guy.
Can't be doing those things.
Yeah. Everybody looks up to you. Like, you got to set the example. So he's got to be better in that. And I seen he issued a statement and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
let's read that right now. I got it pulled up. It says, quote, "I understand the responsibility that comes with being a leader and role model, and falling short of this is not something I take lightly. I'm committed to learning from this, making better decisions, and earning back the trust of my players, our organization, and the fans."
Yeah.
So we're just going to leave it at that, and we'll keep following that story, of course. But again, everyone, pray for the Blue Jackets. We hope they can do it.
We need Philadelphia to lose. Just
Alrighty.
lose.
Awesome. Well, Tyvis, thank you for joining us today. Happy Monday.
Happy
We'll
Monday.
be back Wednesday, right?
See y'all on Wednesday.
Alrighty.
All right.
Good morning.
All right, we are back. Happy Monday, Collin.
Hello. Happy
Hello.
Monday. Hey, Jay.
Hey.
Hi, guys.
We love having you on. Thank you for being on here this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank
Talking about
you.
state news.
Well, there's always something going on in the state of Ohio, and we have something to talk about that doesn't seem like a big deal on the outside, but when you deep dive, it is a big deal. There's a new judicial ruling from the Ohio Supreme Court that says that judges can now publicly endorse candidates for other political office. Did you know that they couldn't endorse before?
I did.
Okay.
I did know that.
Did you know that?
I don't know if I did or not, but, obviously judges run on a political ticket.
Correct.
So but this is in the purpose of court, you have to put those political leanings aside.
You have to be nonpartisan when you're on the bench.
Yeah.
So this is a major change in judicial ethics policy. And the Ohio Supreme Court made the ruling in a 5-1 decision earlier this month, and it stems from grievances that were filed in Clinton County against Judge John Ruddock. And apparently he was accused of misconduct because he endorsed his son for a judicial position on Facebook, and everybody cried foul over that incident. So Chief Justice Sharon Kennedy said when she announced her decision that judges should not have to give up their First Amendment right to free speech just because they've assumed office. And they must still recuse themselves in cases that present a conflict of interest. But here's the other side of the coin. Let's say that you're a judge who endorses a prosecutorial candidate, and that prosecutor wins, and you now have to have them in your court. You are no longer non-biased.
Will you be able to keep impartiality?
Which means you have to recuse.
Yeah. Okay, we are live monitoring a situation right now. The courtroom where Pammy May is about to make her appearance, and they are talking
that's
about
Sam
that right
Szymanski
now.
right now. So we'll listen in for a second.
Competent and doing much better. So the court will find that she's competent. I will sign the entry. We will keep her at COBH in order to maintain her competency and not have any decomposition. Now, it's my understanding that you would like an evaluation for NGRI.
Yes, sir, and I'm going to move the court to consider allowing Dr. Davis to perform the same. He's known to both parties as extraordinarily competent and even-handed, so that'll help move us along towards a trial date or a resolution.
State of Ohio?
Yes, Your Honor, that's fine with me.
All right, so there'll have to be a written plea for NGRI. However, I do want to say I want this case completed. I know I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying it's 2 years old. There are some indications in the report of why we've had some delays, which is not on you, and it's not on you. The statute says that we have to do the evaluation within 30 days. I'd like to get the entry done today. My secretary will help, and you can get the plea entered in writing. And I'm going to set this for a sure trial in 3 months.
Can we approach a second?
Sure.
All right, coming back on. There's a look of Pammy May. She is the woman who was accused of killing her 5-year-old son, Darnell Taylor. And basically, the judge is saying that this has gone on too long. These psych evaluations, this happened 2 years ago, and he wants to see this case completed.
Yeah.
And basically, in the next 30 days, he wants he wants to take it to trial in 3 months. So
does that mean
All
that
right.
he's competent to stand
So we are gonna
trial
pick
in the
a
eyes
trial
of the
date.
court?
no,
If we
so
get
they
a
said there's
report
going to.
back that she is, that she doesn't meet the standard for not guilty by reason of insanity, because it is a very high standard. You have to not know the wrongfulness of your conduct at all, and it has nothing to do with irresistible impulse. So depending on how that comes back, we're going to set this case for trial, and in 3 months, it's either going to be tried or pled out. So I appreciate counsel. Anything else for the record today?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Not from the state.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Judge Sarrett there
Before you
saying
leave,
that
we're gonna
this
get the
will
trial
go
date.
to trial or be pled out in 3 months' time. That is
Right.
all the time he's giving it, and basically saying that what we've learned today is that she does, that meeting the standard to not be sufficient to stand trial is incredibly high.
Yes,
they would
it's
have to
hard
be
to-
able to prove that she did not understand what she was doing was wrong.
Yeah.
So you heard it there. Is he's basically like, I'm done kicking this can down the court, down the road. We're going to trial.
And it's interesting because, Collin, you were in Columbus when all of this happened, and I was working in Cleveland at the time. And the police in Cleveland were actively looking for her. We thought Darnell Taylor was possibly in the Cleveland area, but unfortunately, as this investigation has led to find that he was not in Cleveland, but Pammy May was discovered by a gas station clerk. Arrested there.
You may remember that was the Amber Alert that went out Valentine's Day of 2024.
Yeah.
And she was arrested the day later, so she was arrested on the 15th.
Yeah, so the judge made his case very clear. He wants to see this completed and tried in the next 3 months. So we'll keep following that, of course. Yeah. All right, Jay, we're back. I know you remember when all that happened.
Well, I do, and justice for Darnell Taylor will be served one way or another, and that's the only good news that comes out of a very sad story. There's another sad story that involves a phenomenon called suicide by cop in the state of Ohio. Law enforcement agencies now estimate that there have been an average of as many as 35 suicides by cop every year for the last 5 years here in the Buc-ee state. Now, what is that? That's where an individual acts in a threatening manner, often with either a weapon or a fake weapon, to provoke the use of deadly force by police. So we take you over the weekend to Southwest Ohio in Claremont County on Sunday, where one man is dead following a standoff with police in Pierce Township. So in the early morning hours, they got a 911 call. It turned out that the guy who was actually brandishing the weapon called 911 himself and said, there's a man in the mobile home park with a gun and you have to come. Well, witnesses say the caller was intoxicated and suicidal. So the man is telling dispatchers they have to come immediately. They arrive, they find the man, and of course, what happens in these situations is he refused to comply. And it's unclear whether he was overtly threatening, but both the Pierce Township Police and the Claremont County Sheriff's deputy opened fire, and that was the end of him. His family says he was extremely depressed. This was a cry for help. So the question I wanted answered was, does Claremont County have a mental health mobile response team? The answer is yes. The second question I had is, then why weren't they dispatched to the scene? Which they were not. And the reason why is per department policy, it has to be an active shooter situation. So if this guy had fired one shot in the air,
that's when they would come out.
Then they would have come out. Unfortunately, the name of the deceased has not been released, but that is a sad situation. And so is the business with the Thurman Cafe. This is the second German village staple institution that has either been directly or indirectly affected by fire in the last 14 days. I mean, we lost Matt Schmidt on Easter, and now we have a staple that...
Well, and we can't also forget the Ohio Deli down on that and burned down a number of years ago. Yeah.
But let's be real; these are old buildings.
They are.
I mean, it's tough to update electrical stuff, but obviously,
I remember when I first started and I met Collin. I asked him. I said, "Have you ever been to the Thurman?" And he said no. So I took him on his inaugural experience because I'd been going there since I was 19. Now I was challenged to eat one of those Thurminator 1-pound burgers, but guess what? I lost because I could only get through 3/4 of the burger. They're just too big. So we hope that they will rebuild. The inside is a total loss, but the building is able to stand. And, we just thoughts and prayers with the family.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep.
All right, Jay, thank you so much for coming on today.
Absolutely.
We're
Have
going to take a quick break, but coming up, we have the mayor of the city of Dover joining us to talk about a really exciting investment to the city. So we'll be right back after this short break. All right, welcome back to the Big
back.
Picture. Joining us right now, we have the mayor of Dover, Shane Gano. Thank you for joining us today. Can you hear us okay?
I can. Good morning.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We want to talk about the $1.8 million economic investment from the Economic Development Administration that was recently awarded to the city of Dover. How do you plan on using these funds?
So these funds are going to go towards expansion of existing infrastructure in the city of Dover. We've been fortunate that we've had some significant growth in the northern part of our city with several new manufacturing facilities, as well as some housing and some commercial development. So, our intention is to use these as part of a bigger project for future growth and economic development of the city. Water, sewer, roads, those kind of things we've been targeting for the last several years. And in a small community, putting together the resources to make that happen can be a challenge. So we've been actively seeking state and federal funds on a lot of fronts, and we're grateful for this. I think there were only 3 communities in the country that were awarded last month. So, it's incredibly proud for us.
Absolutely. So I want to dive into the recent years. What kind of economic challenges have you faced with not having funds like this when it comes to economic development?
Yeah, Dover's a community of about 13,000 people. And so, you may not have the resources that, a larger metropolitan area is going to have. So, we, as part of these economic development initiatives, we've identified about $9 million worth of infrastructure work throughout the northern part of the city that would need to be upgraded. And we've been piecing together state and federal funds. About $7 million of that total has come from state and federal partners. If we didn't have that money, quite honestly, I don't know how we would do it as a small community. But we're fortunate. We've been blessed, and people see the growth and the success we're having. So we're getting a lot of traction with our state and federal partners.
And I'm sure, there's so many communities right now that are dealing with these infrastructure improvements of, we're seeing water and sewer that was put in when it first came to town now come to the end of its life is absolutely needing that replacement. I assume that's kind of what Dover's dealing with as well.
Yeah. So the particular lines and infrastructure that serves this site was put in 1973. At that point, most of this area was farmland. It was, not really ever envisioned that you would have several thousand people reporting to work in that area and, hundreds and hundreds of homes. So it's pretty much at capacity and in some places past capacity. So, this has been sorely needed if we're going to continue to grow and move forward as a community.
And what does that future growth look like to you? What does Dover look like 5-10 years down the road?
We have a really high wage, high skill manufacturer that is bringing 450 new jobs over the next 5 years to our city, and that construction is underway now. And we've also identified the need for about 1,000 new units of housing in the greater Dover area over the next 5 years. So I think getting those to come to completion. Again, there's a couple of commercial developments in that area, and really just providing the more opportunity, more economic opportunity for our residents, more options, and better access to high-paying jobs. And I think we're well on that track.
Absolutely. I know the $1.8 million, this is a great step for the city of Dover, but do you need more funding down the road as well?
We are always looking for additional funding. So the water and sewer infrastructure portion, just that portion, is about $4 million. So we've been able to piece together some additional funding from the Ohio Public Works Commission, some congressional funding, and really some of our city funding. So I think we've got that part covered, but there are other needs that are over and above that we're continuing to seek funding for. I was down at the State House for some meetings. I met with the director of the Ohio Department of Development. She made a joke that she feels like I ask for money for something every time, and I said, "Hey, listen, that's part of that's part of the job, right? If you're going to be a good mayor, you're going to represent your community. you should be actively seeking funds for the next big thing. So, we're just grateful that so far we've been able to assemble the funding to make this a reality.
All right, Chingano, the mayor of Dover, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. You have a good day.
You too. All right, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I wish them all the luck. I mean, we talk about the sewer lines and pipes and all that. In the 1970s, that was very long ago.
Right. You're now at 50 years.
That's old.
Right. And I mean, we're seeing that all over, is that,
right.
All of that was put in between pretty much the early 1900s up until the 70s is now reaching that point of it's time to either be upgraded or is falling apart.
Right.
It has to be upgraded. And for communities, no matter the size, it's a huge expense.
Huge.
And it has to come from somewhere.
Money
so,
to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back in 2 minutes.
All right, welcome back to the big picture.
Jinx.
Beat you to it.
Welcome back to the big picture.
Yeah, so did you watch?
Say that 3 times fast.
The Splashdown Friday?
I did. I was watching it at a restaurant. I was out to dinner with my mom, and I was we were watching the live stream on the TV, and I also had 10 TV's live stream with Meredith, and it was such a fun thing to experience and watch live with other people and strangers because everyone was clapping. Everyone felt the same level of joy and excitement. And I haven't felt camaraderie like that in a while, like outside of something that's like not sports related. You know what I mean? Like, so it was just kind of fun to experience in a random place with random people.
And it's I don't know. It's so interesting, the capsules versus the shuttles. And like, I mean, it's just this thing that just parachutes in where like, where the shuttle was a plane that flew like a brick.
Here's some photos of it. So cool.
It is. It's so neat. And honestly, the timing was perfect because it was like that golden hour. So it was just beautiful to watch it like come down to because the sun was just right. It took, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 minutes ish. I know I watched it. Just can't remember when, but it was
a while. And the response was just like amazing. They had helicopters surrounding them to literally like lift. I remember watching them lifting each of the astronauts at one time, swinging them across the ocean. I mean,
because the mission isn't over until they're like safely on the boat.
Exactly. And this is video I want to play of the retrieval of the capsule in the water. Because if you think about it, I mean, it's probably heavy. How heavy do you think that thing is?
God, a few tons.
Yeah. So this is kind of cool to watch how they wrangle that thing in.
Right. They just and then just pluck it out of the water.
Yeah. See, like this is underneath the boat. The ship. This was not a boat they were going on. It was a ship. So then they are pulling it in. Look at all the crew members doing this. Do you see that? Physically pulling it.
Yeah.
That's cool. You think it would be like maybe more high tech than this, but there it is up close. So cool. Awesome. Good stuff. I like watching behind the scenes videos like that.
And now we're on to Artemis 3.
Artemis 3 hoping to launch off to the moon by the middle of next year.
Yeah,
so
and there's a lot of changes with that one. They're talking about rebuild or basically reworking the heat shield because Artemis 2 had the heat shield that we've been using for years, and there have been known issues with that.
I mean, I saw an image of the capsule after it came down.
They're so charred. It's crazy.
Fried.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we got to figure out a safer way to land.
And I wish we could get the video of it because I've seen it. I saw it posted by NASA or somebody that it was the video of them coming back through, and it was at least the first video I saw from the inside of a capsule of the plasma and everything you see coming off because they could obviously see it, and it's just this beautifully colored fire that's just shooting off the back of this capsule as they came through.
I know. I have a family member who works at NASA in Huntsville. I've talked to Kurt Polson. He went to Ohio State, and I was at his facility in Huntsville, the NASA center there, and he was showing me plasma that they were making in this controlled environment. And it was this beautiful pink purple color. And that's what this looks like. And I'm like, this is just crazy. The work that these people are doing at NASA day in and day out, it's amazing. So and then this trip today Friday as well. That's also to get people on the moon by 2029. Right. The end of this decade.
Coming back from this now, it's kind of more of the on-Earth science begins because we've got to realize, figure out how did space affect everything, because once you get outside of the protection of our ozone layer, I mean, there are incredible amounts of radiation in space from the sun.
So they're taking their blood, right?
Yeah, they're seeing how much did they pick up on this, because as we kind of talked this morning on 10 TV News this morning, is that every time we do this, our technology has improved so much that gives us a chance to go back and be like, well, did we get it right the first time?
Right.
Or what did we not know about the first time? So, it's all back to how does this affect the human body?
Yeah.
Space travel.
So cool. And this is what one of the astronauts had to say. They just, they have a bond unlike no other.
Victor, Christina, and Jeremy, we are bonded forever. And no one down here is ever going to know what the four of us just went through. And it was the most special thing that will ever happen in my life.
You'd hope you were pretty bonded and close together after 10 days and
I know,
something about the size of the closet.
Close quarters. Wait, I got to show the picture. Look how cute. Selfie in space. Out of this world. Like they have the special glasses on. Are those for when they're looking at the moon?
No, or
looking out into space if the sun's nearby?
Well, so because they're obviously going to witness eclipses and stuff is the moonrise, sunrise kind of thing.
Those gave me eclipse flashbacks.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. It is to protect them from the sun's rays.
So cool. Well, awesome. Cool. Happy they're all back safely. Hard right turn though. We got to talk about gas prices in Iran. Over the weekend when JD Vance was in Pakistan trying to negotiate with Iran, nothing came of it. It failed.
Right. And now we've moved to blockade the Strait of Hormuz,
which is responsible for about a fifth of the world's oil supply, as we've been covering and reporting on. So this directly impacts gas prices. Trump is a little disappointed in NATO allies, and this is what he had to say.
Coming up, they're going to be coming up, but I'm very disappointed in NATO. They weren't there for us. We pay trillions of dollars for NATO, and they weren't there for us. Remember what I said. NATO was not there. Now they want to come up, but there's no real threat anymore. But NATO was not there for us. Spent trillions of dollars on NATO to help them guard really against Russia. When you think of it, we're guarding against Russia. And I've long thought it was a little ridiculous, but we spend trillions of dollars doing it, and I think that's going to be under very serious examination.
Yep, that's that. And let's take a look at the AAA gas prices right now. The national average is sitting at $4.12 a gallon. This is for regular gas. Here in Ohio, it's not too bad as the national average, but it's sitting around $3.85.
Yeah, which feels
Let's
low.
see, in Franklin, it feels kind of low compared to everyone else. And then Franklin County, 388 right now.
Yeah.
Looking a little higher at 392.
I don't know, because
What's
driving,
over here? Perry
driving
County's
70,
expensive.
just about everything was $4.
I know.
So I'm like, meh, AAA, you might want to update that. So, yeah, it's still expensive, regardless if it's $3.83 or $4.
Absolutely.
It's costing you more to fill up.
And I think it's going to keep going up.
Yeah.
So we'll keep watching that, of course. Well, we're going to take a quick, short break. We're coming back. We have some, what are they called?
Beaver Nuggets.
Beaver Nuggets. Collin went to Buc-ee's, everyone. We'll have more coming back after this break. All right. Welcome back to the Big Picture.
Hope you filed your taxes. You're running out of time.
If you did not file your taxes yet, come on.
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday is the deadline.
Yeah.
And even if you file an extension from Wednesday, if you owe money to the IRS, it's still due on Wednesday. So get it together. But we talked to a tax expert on Friday. We're going to play a bit of that. Right now is Lisa Green Lewis. She has 20 years of tax preparation experience. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So what last minute tips do you have for people who are filing this week?
Yes, the first thing I would say is you want to gather all your documents in one place so you don't leave anything out, forms that report your income like W-2s and 1099s, and then really important, those receipts and forms for anything that's deductible. And then you want to go online and e-file with direct deposit. That's the fastest way to get your refund. And believe it or not, the majority of people do get a refund. And this year, it is expected that filers will see an increase in refund of up to $1,000.
And for folks who just know right now they're not going to make that deadline and need to file the extension, what should people be aware of going forward when they have to basically ask for that extension?
Yes, you can file an extension. You need to do that by 11:59 on the 15th. And just remember, if you owe any money, that extension is an extension to file and not an extension to pay anything you owe.
Okay. And if people get their return back and maybe it's more money than they were expected, what do you kind of advise them to do with that? Save it or spend it?
Yeah, according to our Credit Karma and TurboTax survey, we found that about 69% of people were expecting a refund, and 70% of them said that they would be using it just for necessities like to pay rent, pay down any bills. And so I would suggest, you don't want to blow it all, but you want to have some fun too, but maybe divide it up. If you have some debt, pay off some of your debt. If you're needing an emergency fund, put some towards that, and then put some towards your retirement. That's a good way to build your retirement, and by investing in your retirement, you may get a saver's credit as well.
All right. Good tips there for sure.
Yeah, and
tax day, April 15th.
April 15th. And then this Wednesday, we're also bringing in another tax expert to talk about basically, all right, it's day of, I haven't done it, I have missed the boat. What can you do? How to file an extension? And then also, if you've made a mistake on your return, what to do about that? Could you face some penalties there? So that's Wednesday here on The Big Picture.
Let's get to the news of the day.
Yeah.
Collin, you went to Buc-ee's over the weekend.
I did. I went yesterday because I had to stop by and see the beaver.
The new Buc-ee's in Huber Heights.
On Saturday when I drove by, the traffic was so bad it was backed all the way down the on-ramps onto I-70. I'm like, there is no way I'm sitting in that. So when I came back by on Sunday, it was less so. It is an incredibly overwhelming experience. I don't know if it lives up to the hype. That is a hot take. I'm like, it's a rest stop.
Clip it. Clipping that.
Clip. But I don't know. Well, I did bring back beaver nuggets.
Everyone.
I have not tried them either.
We're trying them live on air. We have 1 minute.
So I don't know. It was incredibly crowded. I'm going to try one.
Take a bite. Okay, wait.
The brisket sandwich is good. Cheers. Tink. Oh, it's like caramel corn.
It does. Oh, really?
I guess I should swallow my food before I talk.
They're chewy. They're kind of hard to chew.
It's going to rip your teeth out.
I know.
But it's good. It is good. Okay. They went on that one, but.
And you said the sandwich was eh.
Yeah, well, the brisket was great, but to me, their barbecue sauce is too sweet. I'm not a sweet barbecue sauce kind of guy.
Ooh, these are good.
They are good. That's going to be dangerous.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Fun.
I don't know. Like, it's to me, it's not a destination. It is a good place to stop on your way somewhere. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. It's clean. Great. It's got all the food options you ever want. But I don't know if I would I'm going to specifically drive to Huber Heights to see a Buc-ee's.
To go there.
Yeah.
I kind of thought about doing that this weekend. Just going. Because I asked Collin earlier. Oh, we're out of time. All right, that's it.
Yep.
Bye, guys.